I've been getting asked a lot, even though I feel like I've done it a couple times, but I don't know. I get asked again and again what my marinade is for what I'm doing with salmon. So I'm gonna do it again to show everybody the basic techniques that I do. So I have, in this case, I have our summers that I caught in hoop nets and vacuum packed. So real quick, like, first thing I'm gonna do is obviously add my water. Depending on how much you're doing, and these fillets are fairly big. These are probably 17 pounders and whatnot. So you'll wanna make sure that you kind of have a nice amount of water. In this case, I always go about four. To give you an idea, I don't measure anything. See, so it's always complicated when people ask me, well, how many cups or how many this? I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. I just dump it in everywhere accordingly. I feel like. So I'll have my water down here basically, okay? And then I kind of have everything in order that how I'm gonna do it. And then next is, of course, brown sugar. Since it's gonna be 3 fillets, big fillets, I'll probably go right around, I don't know, pinch the bag off right around there. And then I'll put it in there. However much. So, I don't know, that's probably equivalent to 3 cups. Just guessing. Then I'll use my rice vinegar as the next thing to break down the brown sugar and everything. I don't know, probably about two teaspoons, I'd say. That's probably about where it's at. Next thing is my soy sauce. And I'll put the whole thing of soy sauce in there. Go down on it. Well, not really. But I'll put like half of it in right now. So I got my soy sauce in there. And one of the things too is I'm bringing is I'm gonna add a little kick to it. So have jalapenos from the garden. I literally just picked these out of the garden, so it's really cool. I'm excited to put those in there too. My next one is maple syrup, and this is the one presentation. This is like what we always call dinner presentation, dinner table presentation. When you put the maple syrup in there, it makes it go, it pops. Like this first thing you look, like when you walk by, then you look back at it like that. You know what I mean? So. In this case, I gotta poke a hole in it. So I'll probably only go about halfway right now because again, I'm gonna mix it up a little bit more. Right now, and then liquid smoke. Even though I'm gonna smoke it again, I always like to have that hint of it. Not gonna get too crazy on it. And I'll put, in this case, we're doing a lot, so I'll probably put, I don't know, I call it a dab of liquid smoke. I use the Wright's hickory smoke. It's pretty inexpensive. It's pretty good use. Anytime you're marinating anything, like you want to marinate steaks or anything else, any birds, anything like that, you can dab that in there and marinate it with the same stuff too. I always use it in my jerky too. You'll see when I'm marinating my jerky and doing that, and I put the pepper flakes, everything's the same across the board. Whatever I'm marinating, it's always this concoction. So now I have my jalapenos, so I'm just gonna chop those up real quick. And these smell strong. I know, they smell strong. I'm putting the season, except this thing. Putting those all in there too. I want it to have somewhat of a kick, but not like to where it's gonna have kind of whistle when it comes to that. So I'm gonna try to hurry because I'm losing light. I'll put those in there, the jalapenos in there with the peppers or with the seeds. All right. Oops. Get some of that jalapeno. Well, it's not really gonna matter, I guess. I didn't want to cross-contaminate it, but it doesn't matter because it's all going in there. All right, real quickly too is remember the tips. Everybody has been asking me how I store my salmon. Well, this is how I store it. So they're in vacuum packs, fillets. So one of the things is that you guys remember is that with the salmon, I do the saran wraps to make sure it doesn't puncture, and then you'll get it here. So it's not. Now, if let's just say we're really on a budget, now I know people might disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't care. But when you're on the res and you don't have that whole lot of money, you'll take it right along the seam, right? And then you'll cut it. And then you'll cut right down your. That's obviously not a good job. Okay, so we'll cut right down our seam, and I'm gonna hack it, but I'll take scissors or whatnot and fix it. Anyway, but so then when you pop your vacuum back up, and then you'll take your scissors and then cut it, rinse it back out, and then bam, cut it back out, rinse it out, dry it out, and then reuse it, reseal it. I know people might argue with me about it or whatever, but when you are on a budget, I don't think too many people will argue with it. So here's the vacuum seal that you'll see that I was talking about. So it keeps the bones from popping through, so that way it will last longer. And as we pull it all out, you can see, bam, it's an awesome fillet, right? So now, I know I've said this before, but who's the tail go to? Not, better look it up. I know everybody should know by now. So I'm only going maybe about, and not even an inch, maybe 3/4. It's really thin because I want the marinade to be in there and then like absorb into it. Like sometimes when I taste people's smoked salmon, I'm not saying I'm really great at this, but I'm just showing you what I know, what I've learned, is that they neither don't marinate it long enough, so it's just on the outers. When you eat it, like you just taste it all around the outside of it. And when you get into the middle part, you don't taste anything. Just a trick too, so that you keep them thinner. And I'm running out of light, so I'm not gonna do the other 3 or the other 2 fillets, because I just want everybody to be able to see what I'm doing instead of getting in the dark. And cats all smell. If sometimes too, if you kind of cut them like a little thick, like these are, I don't know, I feel like these are perfect. These are just right. But if they are too thick, maybe, then sometimes it helps just to do a little cut down the middle of it. That way it will penetrate into the core part of the salmon. And then the knives I always recommend are Bubba blades. Bubba blades are kind of spinny. This is like a 7-inch curl Bubba blade, but they're about $50 a piece. And then you have your other ones that are like this for more of your filleting. They both fillet, but I like these ones when I'm just cutting everything in general. I use this Smith sharpener. I mean, I really go through my blades a lot and I just end up buying them again, but it's a quick way to sharpen instead of using a honing knife. And of course the cats are all out here. Like, fish, you know what you're up to. But they're not really gonna get anything because everything's gonna go into the pot, so, or into the marinade, however you want to do it. So really no secrets to it. I'll let it marinate overnight for approximately, right now, so it's like 8 at night, so I'll go till tomorrow after I get off work at 5, and then I'll get started on it again. That's what I use for marinating. That's the knives I use. Then right now I'm gonna put the rest of the maple syrup in, even though I got 2 more fillets, but it will work out fine. And then I will put the rest of the soy sauce in, and then stir it around, of course. You want to get sure that you get in there and get to the bottom of it and get all the brown sugar, because the brown sugar is just like an anchor. It just goes right to the bottom. So you want to make sure that you stir it around, get it in there with the rice vinegar, and break it down. So, and I have the other 2 fillets I'm going to finish up too, but I'm not going to do them on camera. But I hope that I hope I help everybody out on the marinade. If you're just starting or you want to know the recipe, when I start smoking them, I'll use alder, and right now it's like that's all I have is dry alder. So I go at a slower fire with it, and kind of let it go a little bit heavy real quick at first, and then I back off and slow it down, and then keep it really small after that, and just kind of let it almost like it's percolating, just enough to where there's smoke going on and whatnot. And then keep an eye on it, kind of move them around, make sure they're not getting stuck on the grill, or not the grill, the spreader wire, spreader metal. I always have issues with that. And once I get done with that, then I'll kind of rotate them around, and then I'll pull them off. And then they're really bright too, so that's what the maple syrup does too. So I hope I helped you. If you guys have any questions, learning by trial and error is the best I can say. You know, make sure you pay attention to detail when you're smoking. Babysit it, it's your baby, so that it doesn't, like, you don't want to over smoke it, or make it so it's really dried out, and then you don't want to be under to pull it off too early. So there are a lot of variables in it too. So if you have any questions, make sure you ask me. And have a good night.